It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Tired but victorious, the party made for the Lady Vengeance. The horrors of Fort Joy behind them. They arrived as sorcerers. They left as Godwoken. The fate of this godforsaken world now rested on their shoulders. Or at least, on the shoulders of one of them. With the sun on their backs and the wind in their sails, the Godwoken watched Fort Joy shrink behind them. But their capture of the Lady Vengeance had not gone unnoticed. With the help of the half-demon Malady, the Godwoken escaped through the veil that separates life from death. The chill of the Hall of Echoes clung to the Lady Vengeance as it returned to the shores of Reaper's Coast. The Godwoken were alive, but what of the gods? After many adventures, the party finally reached the place where Godwoken go to become divine. But more surprises and difficult choices awaited. After the briefest moment of respite, Malady brought the Godwoken to Arx to recover the divine powers Dallas had snatched away. But the half-demon's secret was taking its toll on her.
Oh, Lucian's balls! The bastard's going to ruin everything! Brace! Brace! Brace!
To your father. Come to the Source King!
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, my last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the Godwoken failed to seal the veil. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine, in service of the King, until the day I am freed, the day the God King returns.
The world was at peace, at least for now. With its significance as the seat of divinity diminished, Arx fell into decline, and within 7 generations had emptied. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this the lizards excelled. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the death fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as 2 factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the death fog on them again." And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire, the oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumours of another plane of existence. One day he vanished, and was never seen again. Riker remained in his graveyard mansion, served by the spirits newly arrived there, and of those there were many. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames were the colour of blood. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, this time as a lawmaker. After a very public blunder, Marcus eschewed political power and returned to the sea. The Beast and the Lady Vengeance sail on. Sabine wandered the world. She became a household name, famed the realm over as a travelling hero, celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly and finally free. The Red Prince came home a hero. Soon Prince became emperor, and his armies marched on their neighbours. The Red Empire was born, and his house remained true to its name. There was never a day without war. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.